to feel our way. There's a golden thread in the stories that I read. There's golden threads in the teachings. There's golden threads in all of our communication, how we operate. And the golden threads are where every story is telling this type of survival of how to survive or thrive in greater and greater ways. So depending on where we're at, we're like I just imagine some of us are born on the edge of a cliff and some of us are born, on a throne. We all come from so many different aspects, so many different areas. And like I said, if we're looking at ourselves as just specks as far as point of views, there's so many different points of view. So this golden thread is an ethereal strand that allows us to feel our way and come together to create what's being emerging or very visible is that we can do all of this. We can find ways to automate and make this easier. That all this stuff, these golden threads, when we put them together, these golden threads teach us everything. So we can simplify all of this by just simply pointing without the supporting evidence of how it works, why it works, what it does, all of that energy and attention that we put into the story with writing it and reading it, creating it and living it, envisioning it and playing it out. As we spend a whole lot of time creating all of the vocabulary to describe the details of each story that's out here. All of that is attention that we can refocus and choose to focus just on the point. The golden thread, it's easy to see the point of the stories by just changing the words to I, we, us, and ours. When you replace the divisive words with those, you can see what's repelling, and those come right out. So to golden thread something, you take out anything that becomes divisive because it doesn't live in the world that we're creating. You then change it to the state, an active state, a state of being, doing, creating, acting, but an active state of presently present. So if it's in past tense, an easy golden thread is just to make it presently happening. And then opening it and getting rid of anything that says can't, won't, don't. All of the limits are a waste of our energy. If we see limits, we're not coming together. We're looking in the wrong direction. So all of this added information in every story is what supports our current state, our current way of being, our current communication. When we together are able to golden thread a song, if I can change it to I, we, us, and ours, it takes on a different energy. It's just self-empowerment by opening it up. And when it becomes in the creative state, we can, and we are making it as visible as possible, it'll go into one of those three categories. It's either going to tell us something that's empowering us of what I can do, or something that we can do if we come together, or what we are already currently doing. But that's kind of how to golden thread. So we're talking about the golden thread. Woo! All right, so in this world, the way I see the golden thread is the ethereal strand that shows the movement of that point of view. It shows the point of view and its origin, I guess, or its intention. So in a golden thread, you're seeing the belief, the intention, the attention, and the sharing. And there's a couple layers to that. One is that they have to write it. So there is a believing and intending, attending, and sharing that's going on. And a lot of our historic writings, a lot of our texts, the Roman Catholic Church had written up or had, this associate, whatever. But as these are written, there's a golden thread, an ethereal strand that's moving, that you can feel the essence of this in every story. A lot of our stories are in teachings that what we talk about, but there's an ethereal strand that lives in the materials that are written. And this golden thread kind of will point out the trajectory. So it'll show you the kind of point of view and its intention. And you'll see the attention that's given to it and the sharing that's given to it, but you're going to see its bias. When it's a self-fulfilling bias, you can see that, you can see what's self-fulfilling about the bias, but you'll also be able to see the actual bias that it's trying to move us. So the stories are designed to move us through an idea, through a concept. But it's trying to move our energy so that it can take us in a direction that serves something. So depending on who's funding the story, it's moving people to fund this outcome, to fund this way of thinking, to fund this. But the fact that we're writing them and we're holding on to them, and that we're using them time after time after time, and that there's certain stories that do not get put down, they don't get lost, stories that have just stood the test of time, all of this, there is a God force that's going on, that's in this. So this golden strand, you're able to see its movement and the movement within this entire emergence of mankind, our stories and our outcomes and where we're at. And just so you can see all of it, you can see the biases as they go in these golden threads through the stories through time. So as you're looking at these golden threads, you're able to see what moves in you, and you're able to use what moves in you and use those to help automate yourself, to move yourself in the direction that best serves you, and best serves to fulfill your life. So understanding the bias, and seeing what the bias in a song is, or in a story is. What I've done is I take it and I take out I try to change it so it serves me. So what I do is I try to take something that moves in me and immediately try to see how that would serve to move everybody. So when I look at it and I change it to a oneness language, I change it to a language of unlimited. So I can. So any of the limitations are taken out, and they're just taken out of the story. You can also take out the but it shows the active, we put it into an active present tense. It's what we are doing in the moment, and it's just kind of a all we us out. As we look at this golden, or these golden threads, it helps us to kind of align our energy with what best fulfills us and align us with feeding ourself stories and images and memories and songs and automating us to stay in this place of bliss and of joy. So together we can help automate and come up with a system, and using this platform that we're coming up with, this is where we share ideas, where we come up with an app that helps us to automate, just these songs bring out the best in me. But if we all see how to kind of do it, and we communicate more in this. So when we communicate, or when we're doing our own writing our own stories, when we write them with this I, we, us, and ours, when we listen with that I, we, us, and ours, we can see if we want to be a part of the conversation. Staying in that place of bliss for ourselves, understanding what this golden thread is, and aligning ourselves. So using these core elements of the I, we, us, and ours, I can, we can, we are, the I am ing in the moment, whatever I am ing in the moment. So it's trying to be present and changing the stories to presently, changing this, like, the eye of the tiger. If you're singing a song that you're really trying to, it's your fight song, change the words to serve you even more so. But I know a lot of songs are not written in a we and us manner, but just imagine it's you and your kid, you and your family, you and your community chanting it, and you're just able to increase and increase your influence. So that's how you can tell if it's that golden thread is a self-fulfilling golden thread for you. Is it gives you a suit of armor, it makes you puff up, it gives you more and more strength as you golden thread these. So anyways, I believe the golden thread in a lot of the stuff that is out there, you're gonna see a God force that's in play, that regardless, this story is gonna stand the test of time, because as it's picked up, it moves in me to continue to want to call out, want to reach out, want to seek, want to find answers, urge inside us to connect and share our gifts, contribute, have a voice. That golden thread that lives in us, when we see it actually make it to paper, it's thought that made it to form. And when it makes it to paper and then makes it through centuries, through decades, it makes it into many languages, it makes it out of a nowhere place, out of a poverty zone, and it floats to somewhere. It comes from an anonymous source. It's like a lot of this is our thoughts in action. It's all gonna be okay regardless. What the divine does float, and we do keep rising, and it is all happening, and everything is okay. But staying in the moment and feeling the energy that comes with knowing that. And this platform is to kind of provide space for that knowing. Once we know things are all right, then what do? Well, let's connect and play and rejoice and find ways to just do what we're doing at greater levels without any fear. Without distrust, without, just with more love, with more joy, with more enjoyment. And all of the math shows us, all of the stories show us, all of the physics show us. So these conversations that we have, just by having them and keeping them, so that we keep pointing back at the point of the story, which is that we're all driven to talk about this, to find out, well, how do you find the good in this horrible thing? I don't know, let's talk about it. Let's find the good in it, because that is the goal. It's finding the good in all of it together. And as we all see, the rest dissolves on its own. But that's kind of the golden thread, and it's a feeling that you feel as you can feel it in other people's stories, you'll feel what draws you to it. You'll feel it in conversations, you'll feel it, but it'll help guide you as well as you'll be able to be guided by it and kind of get more in the flow of the world energy, the overall consciousness.